I'm scared of people seeing me try and fail. And I think that's like that big fear of failing in public. The main thing that limits us from being our true self is us. And I'm not saying it because we are our biggest enemies or we are standing in our own way, but I'm saying it in a sense of if we keep overthinking, especially when we are overthinking and our overthinking is self-sabotaging ourselves, that is what's holding us back. Even me, for example, like there are so many things that I wanted to do way back when, and I was the one that was holding myself back because I would think like, oh, what is this person gonna think? Oh, my friends are gonna laugh at me, ha ha ha. Meanwhile, all of this was just happening in my head. None of my friends actually cared, and no one truly cares because everyone also is living in their head. And there's also that notion that we tend to overthink, and to me, I feel like the more you overthink, the more that you are losing the true sense of yourself, because you tend to do things for other people, or you tend to do things thinking that other people actually care. Meanwhile, they are in their own head living their own life. And that's the crazy thing that I've came about. Even now, I'm still somewhat dealing with it, but it's not as severe as it used to be. And don't get me wrong, I was never, and I'm never someone that compare myself or that compare other people's success or that gets jealous based on other people's success. Oh, this person has this and I don't have it, blah blah blah. I've never, knock on wood, had those beliefs, because I will see, for example, I will see a girl with a nice body. I will compliment her. I'll be like, hey, like your body is very in shape. Like you look really good. What's your diet like? What's your workout routine? Blah, blah, blah. However, when it comes to me doing something that's a little bit outside of my comfort zone, I tend to shut down a little bit because I'm scared of people seeing me try and fail. And I think that's like that big fear of failing in public, which I feel like many people has. But the thing is because we are stuck in our head thinking that people care that much, people are going to laugh at us for failing. Meanwhile, other people might look at it and be like, wow, that's courageous, that's amazing, I feel inspired and I'm gonna try to do my own version. And other people, don't get me wrong, will laugh, but those people that are laughing, they are laughing because they see that you are taking the courage to actually do it, but they are also on the sideline not doing anything, you know? So those people that are laughing, even though it's gonna be a very, very small amount of people, if people even laugh at all, right? What I was trying to say is like, instead of living in our head, it's the best practice is to just try to be in the present and try to say, fuck it, I'm gonna do it anyway. And that's the mindset that I started to embrace lately, because I started my channel, I want to say a few years ago, and then I kind of stopped because I wasn't getting many views. And I was like, oh my God, my friends, my family, all these people are watching me post videos, but I'm not getting any views. Like it was cringing, right? It was cringing, but it was only cringing to myself. I was in my head living that. When I was having a conversation with my sister the other day, and I suddenly asked her, I was like, what did you think about my old channel? Because I was posting and I wasn't getting any views. She's like, oh, I didn't really think of that. I thought it was pretty cool that you were posting videos of things that you enjoyed, but I didn't even look at how many views you got. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. And she's like, yeah. And then she's like, to be honest, I don't even remember the things that you were posting. I just remembered that you were posting about things that you enjoyed. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then she also went about like about something that was going on in her life, and I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. Like many people are truly, they also have their own life. Not many people out here focusing on you. And it took me a while, and also that conversation that I had with her finally clicked in my head, as in like, even your families, like your close friends, like even your partner, they also have their life. Don't get me wrong, your partner will most likely support you and blah blah and give you feedback. Some of your friends will give you feedback and you will embrace it, but the main battle that we fight is in our head, thinking that people are actually criticizing us. Meanwhile, people are not even noticing. But yeah, there are many things that I'm still afraid of doing, that I'm also trying to push myself out of my comfort zone. And when I have like a huge list because it's just me. But yeah, but when I started doing those things, it can be like going to a fancy restaurant by myself. Like, I used to think like, oh, if I hear like a group of people laughing, I used to think like, oh my God, they're laughing at me. Meanwhile, they're just laughing among each other. Again, that battle is happening in your head. Like, it's insane. It's insane. Not until I had that conversation with my sister, literally, I thought that the world was revolving around me. Meanwhile, it's in my head. It's like, it's so weird. But yeah, the more you know, right? Anyway, I say this to say the new year is about to start. 2025 is literally around the corner. Don't let the negative talk that you have inside stop you. Just say fuck it and do it anyway. People don't care. Like, if you're gonna start a YouTube channel, might as well start. If you wanna start that business, might as well start. I'm not saying by all means quit your job and like put all of your money in whatever and then just blow it all out, because who fucking cares. But also, if this is how you want to live your life, fuck it, do it, right? Because you, as long as you enjoyed it and you are okay with the consequences, if there are consequences, fuck it, right? Because at the end of the day, it's your life. Like, and who am I to stop you, right? And it's the same thing too, as in like those other people that you are afraid that might see your channel, like your coworkers that might see your channel and they see like, oh damn, like she's not getting any views. Even that comment, me listening to that comment now, I'm laughing at it because I'm like, oh, I'm out here trying to do something. What are you doing? You're just on the sideline criticizing, right? Like, then your comment doesn't even mean anything. Meanwhile, someone that's actually trying something as well, or someone that tried something, they will see the courage that it took you to actually post yourself and like do something, you know? So yeah, get out your head and just do the things that you've wanted to do. If you wanted to start making clothes, if you wanted to start learning knitting, drawing, singing, if you wanted to start a YouTube channel and just do covers like karaoke or whatever you want to do, just do it. Life is short. Like, don't live in your head and think that people don't like you or people gonna laugh at you. And also, if people are gonna laugh, let them laugh. Like, it shows like their insecurities, if anything. And also, they're gonna laugh, but they're still gonna be watching your channel, you know, and you're still getting the views. Or they're gonna laugh, but they're still gonna see whatever you're doing. Let's say if you have like an art portfolio, they're still gonna click on that art website and scroll down, so that way they find things to laugh about. Regardless, you are getting views, right? Like, you are getting that extra click. Regardless, you are getting traffic. So yeah, but I say this to say, stop getting in your head. The voice in your head is not your true self. And another thing I will say that might help, which helped me a lot, is noticing how you talk to yourself is very important. But also, use some quiet time. It can be in the morning, or it can be before you go to bed, to journal. I know you're probably tired of other people talking about journaling and whatnot, but journaling really helps. Like, it helped me drastically. And it doesn't have to be just writing down on paper, pen and paper. You can start by just going for a walk and you put in your headphone and you can do audio journaling. I've heard about that and I've never tried it, but that's something I definitely want to try, especially since I like to walk. But yeah, you can put on your headphones, go to the park, just walk and just audio journal. And the beautiful thing is, once you have your headphone, people just gonna be walking by you and they're just gonna think that you are on the phone, so they're not even gonna pay attention, right? So, but yeah, like journaling definitely helps. Sometimes we just want to word vomit, and it's best to just word vomit on paper. And then later on, you flip to those pages. Some of them make sense, some of them doesn't make sense. And other times, especially if you're having a hard time or if you're going through something very harsh or if you're in your head a lot and you just journal, you're just writing it down, you just feel lighter, but yeah, journaling really helps, and I'm sure there are other things that may help as well, but noticing those those little clues, those little things that you tell yourself. Another thing, for example, I've noticed is when I remember something that I've done in the past that was embarrassing, I will blurt out, ugh, like I will do this. And I noticed it lately, and I'm like, what's the deal with that? Like, many people that was in that environment doesn't even remember that happened. Like, why am I in my head thinking about that and thinking that people still remembering and people feel bad or is embarrassed for me? Meanwhile, it's in my head. I'm reliving that weird embarrassing moment. Meanwhile, it was probably not even embarrassing. It was probably embarrassing in my head. Meanwhile, other people just laughed about it and then move on with their life. So many embarrassing things we saw, we thought that was embarrassing. Meanwhile, the other people around us didn't even see it as embarrassing. So it's all how we interpret life in our head. So since we spend most of our time in our head, might as well make it like a bubbly and happy place, because you have such a short life. Why do you want it to be so miserable? And don't get me wrong, it's not as easy as it sounds, but acknowledging it and taking baby steps on making it better is by no means gonna be easy. I'm not saying that, but by taking baby steps, it's gonna make it easier little by little, and sooner and later you're gonna be better at it, and you probably will notice those negative thoughts coming from a mile away. But I'm gonna let you pass through, and I'm not gonna overthink this because it's never that deep. Another thing that I started doing actually is, if, for example, I'm going through something, or someone said something, or something happened, I will ask myself, is this going to matter in 3 months? Like, is this going to affect my life 3 months from now? And if the answer is no, then I'm like, you know what, forget about it. And then the second question is, if the answer actually is yes, then I'm gonna be like, okay, is this gonna affect my life a year from now? If the answer is no, then I'm like, you know what, it's really not that deep, but I'm gonna just take the L and move on. But when I see it like that, it really helps me kind of gauge the level of how much energy I should put into that thing. Perfect example. There was one time I was going to see my sister, and I live in New York, so she lives upstate, and I was on the Metro North, and I forgot my phone on the train. And I have the watch, like the Apple Watch. So as soon as the train was leaving, I got the notification like, ping ping, your phone is out of range, or whatever that notification says, right? But if you know me, my phone has like the wallet attached to it, so which means my IDs, everything is included in the back of my phone. So I was freaking out, and then I tried to call my phone using my watch, and obviously I didn't have internet because my phone was away, so I couldn't really call my phone. But and it was also a Sunday. So I found this little, across from the train station, I found this gym. So I went inside. I'm like, I was trying my best not to freak out, but my heart was pounding because, again, I lost my phone with my ID and everything. And then I asked the girl, she was about to close the gym, by the way, because it's a Sunday and it was around like 4 or 5 p.m. and whatnot. So I asked her, hey, it's an emergency. See, I lost my phone. I left it on the train, blah, blah, blah. And then, can I use your phone? Do you have like a phone that I can use, that I can just call my phone and also call my sister to kind of tell her about the situation? And she's like, yeah, she was very nice, blah, blah, blah. So she gave me access to the gym phone and whatnot, or the office one, the receptionist phone. I don't know, whatever, but it wasn't her personal phone. It was like the work phone. So I called my phone number and someone answered, and it was the conductor. And then she's like, oh, we're gonna bring it to the lost and found, but it won't arrive to the lost and found on not until Tuesday. But keep in mind, this was a Sunday, and I needed my phone to actually get to work on Monday. And I was like, oh my God, is that I started freaking out. But for a quick second, I'm like, actually, it's okay. I will just take it on Wednesday. I think she said Wednesday or Tuesday. Most likely Wednesday, because I remember telling myself, like, oh my God, it's 2 days. What am I going to do? Blah, blah, blah. Because I also needed to log in for work, and I need my phone to log in for work. So anyway, so as I was in my head, like, why did I do this? Like, I was kind of like beating myself up. I also called my sister. I told her the situation, and then I told her where I was, and I told her I would be standing outside for her to find me, blah, blah, blah. But as I was waiting for my sister to come pick me up, I was beating myself in my head. I was just like, oh my God, why? How could I have been so careless? Blah, blah, blah. And then midway, I kind of stopped myself, and I'm like, wait, hold up. I'm gonna have my phone in about like 2 or 3 days. I didn't lose my phone. Like, yes, I left it somewhere, but someone found it, and I'm gonna get it back, like in a few days. So it's not like I lost all of my IDs. I should be grateful for that. And that's when like that simple mindset shift, I became very grateful for not losing my phone and not having to go to DMV and like go to like the bank and do all of those extra things. Don't get me wrong, I just freeze all of my credit cards, and I also never carry cash on me. So I didn't have cash in the back of my phone anyway. And then I was able to also track my phone, because like on the Find Your iPhone or whatever that thing is, I was able to track it. And the beautiful thing is, once I let go of it, when I got home, I also sent a message to my boss, and I told her the situation. And I also told her, like, I won't be able to get online on Monday. And she also found a solution, as in like, oh, you can send a message to IT, and then they will be able to give you a temporary code, blah, blah, blah. So I was able to log in and actually keep up with my work. And then also the other thing is, my phone ended up, instead of arriving to the lost and found on Wednesday, it arrived on Monday afternoon. So which means I was able to pick up my phone earlier. But imagine if I had stayed in my head, like beating myself up for being so careless and whatnot. I would have been like, like it would have been just like horrible. And I remember I was with my sister, because I still ended up going to my sister instead of just doing like a U-turn and going back home. I remember staying with my sister, and we were just like talking, and she's like, you're so calm for someone that just lost her phone. And I'm like, yeah, but I technically didn't really lose it, because I will find it, I will get it back in like 2 or 3 days, so I was fine. But yeah, like, just changing how I saw the situation in my head made me feel so much better. Because imagine if I was beating myself up during this entire time, it wouldn't make the process faster. You see what I mean? Like, I will be beating myself up over and over again, and I will be mad, like ruin my mood, ruin everybody's mood around me, because I'll just be like a sad bum everywhere, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that was like a quick little story to show you how, by changing your mindset and by changing how you see things, can make such a drastic difference. And I was just at peace, and I was fully present being around my sister and so on. Yeah, it also taught me a very important lesson, because like now wherever I'm going somewhere, I always make sure that I have my phone in my hand. If I'm leaving the subway or if I'm leaving the train, I always make sure that I have my phone in my hand, and then I always look back to make sure that there's nothing left behind. But yeah, like, I just wanted to actually add that just as like an example. But yeah, and what else? But yeah, like, I hope you guys found this video very useful. And I'm looking at the time, and it's actually over 20 minutes. I know I'm gonna cut it down to make it very short, because there's probably a bunch of extra blob. I hope you guys find this video very useful, and if you're watching this before the new year, happy new year. And I hope you get to be the best version of yourself next year and all the year after. So yeah, thank you. Keep on growing, keep on learning, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.